And we're going to talk about EPC conversions mastery, EPC conversions mastery. And just as a way of overview, as I said, EPCs are not normally discussed or taught. It's one of those things that you'll see it when a JV is talking about a product that they want you to promote. You'll see it when someone is talking about whether or not their product was a success, and they'll say that they had X number of EPCs. And you might have heard that, right? And also, it seems easy to understand right on his face, right? That's what you would think. It's earnings per click, right? That's on its face. You and I would feel like that's exactly what it is. And so what's there really to understand? But what isn't really explained is how do you get the best EPC? It would seem then obvious. Well, I need to sell as much as I can, and I need to sell as much as I can to every one person that comes to the page. That seems logical. But again, even though it's one of those things that a JV will make a decision about whether or not they're going to promote your product or not, even though it is something that a product creator will say is a measure of their success, there isn't a lot of discussion about how you get the best EPC, and there's a little more to it than get the highest possible price. What are the factors influencing EPCs? We're going to talk about that because you and I, if we're ever going to launch products consistently, we have to understand this. EPC does influence your launch results because the fact of the matter is the higher that you say or the higher that they can look and see that your EPCs are, then people who do not know you will come on board. And I think that's more important than anything else. You're probably going to have the case where if somebody knows you well and they think that your product is going to be worthy based on who you are, they might be willing to promote for you. But there are going to always be people that will take a look at your statistics and say, you know what, I'm going to promote that even if I don't know you. And often that can be the difference between a successful launch and a non-successful launch. And the other thing is, with a high EPC, you can influence a decision on product of the day, right? Whether you're doing that on JVZoo, Warrior Plus, or even JV Share. If maybe you don't have as many sales as someone else, or your sales are lower than you might consider otherwise, then you can actually influence your position as product of the day if your EPCs are high, or if your EPCs are highest on a particular day. And when you do that, what you have is a snowball effect, right? You don't have to be known to be product of the day, right? Believe it or not. And I know that may be a very popular way of looking at how those things are chosen. Oh, well, then those guys often choose their friends, or they choose somebody who's really popular. And often what's happening is when you see someone choose something that's going to be product of the day, what they're trying to choose is what they feel as if they're going to get the most from a mailing on their behalf. Right? And when they mail something, they want to make sure that they're going to make the most possible that they possibly can. And the way that they do that is they look at the EPCs, right? And so this whole idea of influencing your EPCs gets you closer to being noticed as product of the day, or at least gets you in the conversation. And this causes a snowball effect because other people then come to want to promote your product, even if they don't know you. Right. So if you're with me so far, please put number 1 in the question box. If you get the whole picture of the importance of it, at least right now. Right. So if you get it. Okay. So ultimately, it's going to help you to grow your list. Right. Because if you actually get to the point where you have more people promoting, they're bringing in different people to buy your product, you're going to grow your list through product sales. And again, one of the best ways for you to grow your list is often counterintuitive. You think you've got to have a big list in order to have a successful launch, but actually a successful launch will really determine whether or not your list is going to grow, because people join your list when you sell a product and that person ends up on your after sale autoresponder. So again, this whole idea of high EPCs not only will help you to have higher product sales, but even if you gave away 100% of your profit, you'll be able to grow your list that way, because other JVs are going to be trafficked to your page ultimately to buy your product. Right now, what are we going to cover today when we talk about EPCs? Well, we're going to talk about why it's important. We've done that a little bit so far. I want to talk a little bit about how dependent it is on your sales funnel, right? So we're getting into probably what's going to be a little more advanced of a topic, but it still is going to be something that you're going to be able to take and implement immediately in your business if you're launching anything. We're going to talk about how you determine EPC, the factors influencing it, and how you manage EPCs. And we're also going to talk about the snowball effect, which I just introduced to you right now. So let's talk about the importance of understanding it, right? Because again, for a long time, this is something that personally I ignored and personally did not deal with. And I'm going to show you why that was probably not so smart of a thing to do. Obviously, on the face, definition of EPC is earnings per click, right? And what does that mean? The formula for earnings per click is obvious. I'm going to take the amount that you earned, divide that by the total traffic, however you determine that. And if you go to look at a particular product or the statistic on a particular product in a particular affiliate network, they're gonna constitute that differently. Some people determine a click based on the page being revealed. Some people base that on a literal click. It doesn't really matter. What you need to focus on is, right, the amount of earnings divided by total traffic as it is determined by that network. Right, so if you're with me so far, please put the number 2 in the question box if you get it. Right, that's basically earnings per click. Now, we basically are trying to determine how much are we earning every time somebody clicks a link and visits. And that's obviously going to determine whether or not I should promote a product or not whether or not I like you or not whether or not I think that you've been a nice guy or now a nice lady, right? If I'm going to determine based on how much I'm going to make if I send your offer, assuming that your offer is a good fit for our community or our subscriber community, then I'm going to want to promote just based on that. If I assume that what you've done is high quality, I assume that it's going to be a good fit, I want to start then looking, well, how much am I going to make on average if I send out your offer and I get, let's say, 100 visitors to the page. For example, right, if you earn $200 and 100 people click, then your EPCs are going to be $2, right? $2 EPCs. Now, if your EPC is low, marketers are going to be reluctant to promote. They don't know you personally, right? And again, if you're trying to bring in, and often there's a question that you might hear being asked as internet marketers is, well, how do I break in, right? How can I start getting people who maybe I don't know personally, or how can I get started if I'm not a big gun? And one of the ways that you can get started if you are a big gun is you can make sure that what you market, right, what you bring to market has a high EPC. Even if you're not getting a lot of clicks at the very beginning, you want to make sure that the EPCs are high. And it is one of the things that says about your product, hey, you know what? It's going to be worth your time to have this product promoted because of the EPCs. Now, even when somebody promotes for you, they may not be willing to promote for you again, more than once if the EPCs are going to be low, right? And so again, what you're doing is you are giving people an objective standard as to whether or not they're going to promote what it is that you are selling. Now, this means that you can influence 2 things to affect the EPCs. There are 2 things that you can do. Number 1, if you can affect the amount of traffic coming to a particular page. Number 2, if you can affect the amount earned. And we're going to talk about that here in this session. Now, EPC is not a hard and fast rule, right? It doesn't mean that automatically as an affiliate, that if I send 100 visitors, I'm going to make $200, right? That's not what this means. What it does mean is it means that it depends on what kind of traffic I send to a particular offer. So in other words, I've got to make sure that if I'm going to send people to an offer, it's got to be relevant to whatever the offer is. But in general, that if I send the same kind of traffic to a particular offer and it is relevant, I can expect that if I send 100 visitors, I should be able to make $200. But I'm going to tell you why this number is not exactly what it seems. There are two perspectives on the amount earned. Now, the first thing is we can look at this number, EPCs, based on the amount that the affiliates are earning. And number two, we can look at it based on the overall sales number. Right? So in other words, there are two ways that EPCs really matter. Number one, it's just for the affiliates. In other words, an affiliate sends traffic. If they send 100 visitors, the affiliate's going to expect $200. Or the overall picture, that's affiliates plus what you send. That's affiliates plus SEO traffic. That's affiliates plus people who are curious. That if all of that equals a particular number, we can look at EPCs in that way. But we're going to focusing on trying to affect affiliate EPCs. That's what we want to affect. We want to make sure that the affiliate EPCs are high because, again, what it says to another affiliate is it's worth your time to promote this product. Doesn't mean they're going to go out. Doesn't mean they're going to do that right away. Doesn't mean they're going to do that right off the bat. Doesn't mean they're going to like us. It does mean that if we have a product with a relatively high EPC, then that we have an objective measure to say our product is worth the time. Right now, when you look at this number inside of JVZoo Warrior Plus, you're not looking at a true number. And this is what I really want to kind of bring home to you, that even when someone says, I have $2 EPCs, and they look at it inside of JVZoo, that's not necessarily the exact EPC. And I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you how you can make sure that you get the highest possible number when you're going to put a product together. Number one, because it's being influenced by a couple of things. Number one, it's going to be influenced by your sales funnel. Right? So in other words, if you have the kind of sales funnel where someone buys one thing, they're likely to buy three, that if you have a high percentage of those people, or you have the kind of funnel where someone's going to come and they're going to see what it is that you have on the front end, and they're going to like the other things that you have in there, then you're probably going to have a higher EPC. It's going to be influenced by affiliate commissions, right? That's the amount earned. It's also going to be influenced by your email strategy, which is traffic, and it's also going to be influenced by your pre-launch strategy. We're going to talk about all four of those things in this session. Now, one thing that I do want to kind of bring to your attention is that we're not looking to game the system by changing the MPCs. So we're not trying to game this thing, right? We want to make sure we have a high EPC, but we're not trying to trick anybody. We're not trying to fool anybody. We're not trying to make our product appear to be something that it is not. What we want to do is make sure that it reflects truly what it is that we have put before people. And we want to make sure it's a true reflection of what we're asking affiliates to take a look at. Now,